Now, why was I in the store and my phone go "Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-ding," guilty? I said, wait, who guilty? Are you telling me Tory Lanez was found guilty? What? Shout out to the prosecutors. Shout out to the prosecutors. Look, this has been a hell of a fucking case. But as I've said, and I want to start this, it's going to only be 30 minutes, y'all. I want to start this by saying what I've said. This was never about the relationship. And I'm listening to folks and I'm watching these videos and everybody's, and they were friends and they didn't like each other. Who gives a fuck? That's your problem. I'm sorry you looked at all the evidence and that was the only thing you pulled out of it. That was not the case. Take that shit to civil court. This was not about whether Megan and Kelsey had a sour friendship. This was never about whether Megan and Kelsey fucked Tory. The question, okay, and I had to pull this shit out because some of you, it's just in the evidence be right here. It be right on the fucking internet. The questions that the jury had to return was, who do you think was guilty of assault with a weapon of Megan Thee Stallion? Not, do you think it was caused because Kelsey and her was in the car and they were arguing and then the gun slipped? They don't give a fuck about that. That's why they were trying to suppress so many things. That's why when I told you all earlier today the critical key evidence about this case and what it was. But we finna go through this. Shout out to the crew for being here. Thank y'all for being here. I know this is a weird time, but I just got home, was out shopping, finally got me a couple of things that I needed and was like, I need to talk to y'all real quick. So we're here. Jury convicts the rapper Tory Lanez on all charges in shooting of Megan Thee Stallion after a single day of deliberations. Now, we left off on them having a couple of questions that they had. They wanted to know what willfully mean and forceful. They wanted to get answers to those questions. And they got those answers and they continued on deliberating. And shout out to y'all. Let me see who all in the building. Shout out to Joe. What up, Joe? What up? Hey, Risa. What up, Chantel? Thank y'all for coming through. Yes, justice for Megan. Where, bitch? Where? Okay, deport. Listen, we finna break that all the way down. Rodney, what up? Thank you for coming through. Shout out to Rodney. All right. Share going down. All right, so we get this message by way of her name is I always want to get her name right. Um Megan, was it, what's her name? I think Reese, you know her name. Megan. I hope you can get it before I pull it up. Oh, Megan Cuniff. So Megan Cuniff posts this message to her Twitter, and we all see, hello, jurors in the case of People versus Daystar Peterson have notified the court they have a verdict. The court will be back on record at 3:15. So around what, East Coast time, around 6:15, you get everybody. Verdict has been reached. You got some folks even out here saying he was found not guilty. Everybody carrying with it. He's not guilty. People setting up lives. Verdict reached. Not already prefacing that this man, the verdict has been reached in his favor. And so we all had to wait, sit idly. I'm just sitting idly too, y'all. I'm twiddling my thumbs. I'm like, let me fucking shout. Let me see what's going on. So then we get the announcement. A jury has convicted Tory Lanez of all three charges for the 2020 shooting of Megan Thee Stallion, a crazy and downright scary scene in the courtroom as his father and stepmother screamed about wicked injustice. It goes on further. Jurors reached the verdict after 7 hours of deliberations. Lanez was immediately taken into custody after the verdict. A sentencing hearing is set for January 27th. So immediately, immediately, the courtroom went up. I'm like, wow. I'm in the store just standing. I'm looking at my phone like, this shit is crazy. What? I'm popping in and out of folks' lives, listening to what folks are saying, their theories. But I feel like no one really went back to the evidence, really went back to the case to say, okay, what didn't I see that was really critical in this case? And that's sort of what I wanted to do. So I pulled from all angles. We got all kind of angles, but I pulled this real quick. Literally got home at 8 o'clock, started this live at 8:30. So that means this is like 20 minutes of work I just did. So y'all bear with me, but I wanted to make sure you all have the facts as these lives are going on. Now, so now we see that he's sentenced. Sentencing hearing will be on January 27th. So what I found interesting was He was immediately remanded, arrested on the spot, led out in handcuffs by sheriff's deputies. There were 6 total in the courtroom, 2 at the door and 4 behind Lanez. And there was quite a scene when they tried to get Lanez's father and stepmother under control. Another statement was Tory was handcuffed and led out of the courtroom by deputies wearing his powder pink pants, white turtleneck, and longish jacket. There were young children seated with Tory's family in the gallery. One girl who appeared about 8 was crying as Tory's stepmother hugged her. Now here's the thing: we said this when this first day one. I said, "Oh, he got the kids." I said, "You trying to show people, you trying to show that you're a father and stuff." You got to be careful. You got to be careful about that because could have been the last time your child see you for a long time, and then you brought them here for this. Granted, I heard earlier, I think someone was saying that the child wasn't in the actual courtroom but was there. The preface of it all for me was a bit much. So son was there. Now Tory Lanez is facing up to 22 years and 8 months in prison at sentencing, and he could also be deported. Immediately after serving his time, he'd take his ass back to Toronto, Canada. A lot of this shit is online. And I'm going to tell you why it was critical for them to add that additional charge of negligence, because negligence holds weight when it comes to deportation. See, I was wondering, like, damn, they adding this stuff. It doesn't matter negligence. If he shot her, that's way heavier than just negligence. But see, they wanted to, if they got away from the assault charge, well, negligence also puts you in the felony category, and it also means you are deported as well. So they were trying to cover their bases all the way around. And as prosecuting attorneys, that's what you do. Again, we're not arguing who likes Tory and if he was capable and then you know what got me the most? This whole a black man. Bitch, Megan's black. Kelsey's black. We all are black. This ain't no black man. This ain't no trying to villainize no black man. No, what this is trying to correct a wrong and get justice for someone. Now, if the tables were turned and it was a white woman and a black man, I could understand some people saying, okay, this is a racist situation. But it's not that at all. I don't see this as being we're trying to put a black man on and now we're trying to, what the fuck? First of all, he was fucking both of them. Did we miss that? Fucking both of them. Are we not paying attention to that behavior? First of all, and that causes commotion between women in general. I'm not saying it's his fault, but he can't be looked as somebody who was perfect in this situation at all. Like, I'm saying, like, wow, okay, so if we're gonna look at relationships, where was Tory in all of this? Like, he was screwing both these ladies. Now it's funny because in the courtroom you had the mother. A woman turned and looked at the reporter sitting behind her, including me, and said, Jay-Z is a bitch. Report that. Jay-Z is a bitch. And I keep saying, why is Jay-Z involved? Oh, because Rock Nation. Rock Nation paid for her representation because they're involved. Is that why we're alluding to Jay-Z? Because I'm sure he is not that intimately close to this case, but I'm sure by symbolism, they're directing their attention there. No, direct your attention at the prosecuting attorneys. That's who you directed at the LAPD for not testing after they said that there was residue found on their hands, but then not finding nothing on the gun. Whose fault is that? That ain't nobody's fault but the defense attorney. And then something else I told you all. So here's the key evidence. Here's key evidence. This is coming from Megan Thee article she just literally did like an hour ago. Key evidence for the jury in this case is something I said earlier, you all. Remember the phone call that he did? He called Kelsey apologizing. And remember earlier today, I said he needs that his attorneys were supposed to go on record and explain his demeanor with that call, because that call is critical evidence to a jury that says, why is he apologizing? But they didn't spend enough time saying that's his character. He's a guy that they didn't do that. They wanted to suppress it. So when they heard that, it was more of like okay, wow. So don't take my word for it. Read. Key evidence for prosecutors included a recorded apologetic phone call Lanez made from jail to Harris hours after the shooting as she waited for Megan at the hospital. Text messages Harris sent Megan's bodyguard after the shooting that implicated Lanez, and apologetic text he sent Megan after the shooting. And this is why I said they should have focused less on a fucking relationship, sexual or not, and more so on the fact that he was doing things like, apologizing and text messages that being sent. Why didn't we talk about, why didn't they try to define his character in that way. That's what I'm saying. They allow a lot of this shit to slip through the cracks. And shout out to y'all. Let me see, because y'all know I bump my gums. I hope she is able to spin that block on every blog who intentionally release incorrect information. I shouted loud as fuck outside my house. Okay, listen. Megan Thee deserves another award for her reporting on this entire trial. She was really the only one who kept it straight facts, true journalism. That's true. My thing is, why who's sleeping with who matter in this case? Because we have quasi commentators, quasi, paralegal professionals looking at this as a gossip story instead of a legal situation. It was never about a divorce. It was never about a relationship. It was always about who shot her. And to come out here and say this was about jealousy, to me, it just showed you that the lawyers on this case really didn't know how to approach some of the evidence that they were stacked up against them. That's really what it showed me. Like, oh, this shit is being thrown at y'all. You might got a way out, but you don't know what to do. You ain't prepared for it. Jay-Z didn't say one word in support of Meg, which folks have bashed him for not doing. So Jay-Z, that's what just wanting to find somebody. I'm gonna play that clip too. The fact that his father acted like a whole douche canoe speaks volumes about his upbringing, moral code, and character, don't it? He didn't testify. Kelsey's September testimony and the defense witness sealed it. Yes, the jury saw through that foolishness. Hey, Cheryl, it's good to see you. Jay-Z had no parts, never said a thing in support of Megan. Get the fuck out of here. Only bitch is Tiny Tim, aka Tory. I don't too much care for Megan anyways. Oh, shit. So now Meg's attorney comes out here and goes on and say, the jury got it right. I am thankful there is justice for Meg. Now, I don't see anything wrong with his statement at all. It was a fair statement. Play statement came out. Now, let's talk about the appeals. So just real quickly, everyone is talking about how he can appeal. Yes, he can appeal. Yes, he can appeal. He has the option. He has 60 days for felony cases. This is all in Southern California. For felony cases, you must file a notice of appeal within 60 days of judgment or order. You must file your notice of appeal at the clerk's office at the courthouse where the trial was heard. Now get into what the appeal procedure, because remember, you're going to hear blogs talk about this a couple of days from now about how he can file an appeal, what he can file an appeal. The only thing Roman is focused on in every fucking case I talk about here, and I'm not even a lawyer, is the legal procedure. That's it. That's all. I don't give a fuck about if they can come up with evidence on that shows that they was wrong. It don't matter if it don't help the legal procedure. And so let's look at their appeals process, because I want y'all to know this information before people start lying and, oh, he can do it. Shut the fuck up is what I be wanting to say. So look at this. This is the appeals process. Can it be a new trial? No. Okay, the appellate court can review the evidence presented at your trial. So remember, he cannot get a new trial. There will be no new evidence submitted, no new testimony submitted. The only thing that the new juror will see is the information presented at the first trial. That's A. So if anyone come out here, maybe they can get no, you can't. Secondly, can anyone appeal? You can only appeal. Listen to this one closely. You can only appeal if you say there was not enough evidence in your trial to justify the verdict or judgment, and you say there were mistakes of law during or before the trial that hurt your case. Now, this is where Tory might have an angle. Number 2, you say there were mistakes of law during or before the trial that hurt your case. And what I say is, when the LAPD were at the crime scene and when they were testing your hand, I don't think a lot of the police procedure was followed correctly. You may have an out there, but don't be trying to bring in no new shit, no new, but they're not going to look at that. If you say there was not enough evidence in your trial to justify judgment, the appellate court will review the record and decide if there was substantial evidence to support the judgment. If you say mistakes of law were made, the appellate court will listen to both parties. Then they will decide if there was any irregularity or mistake that prejudiced or hurt your case. What are most appeals based on? Most appeals have to do with mistakes in the law or legal procedures. Did you hear me say it? Legal procedures. Okay, so this is what we're going to look out for. Tory Lanez filed an appeal. What is he appealing for? What legal procedure did he find error in that they didn't talk about in the court, that his attorneys failed to bring up? But remember, at that point, all of the Megan Kelsey shit dies down. We're not talking about that no more. We're now at the appellate process, the appellate court. Okay. And again, I feel like it's rightful justice. Someone shot her. She didn't shoot herself. She was shot by someone in that car. And the question for this jury in this court was, did Tory do it or not? Whether he was the first shooter, whether he was the second shooter, whether he just shot all up in the air and none really directly hit her, did he shoot her or not? That was the question that the jury had to answer, not whether Kelsey came in first or second. That didn't matter to them, because even if they said yes, she's not being charged with anything. So they found him at fault. I do believe there was some fault there. I absolutely do. And it's sad because I truly don't think this could have should have went this far or ended this way on all parties. Megan, Kelsey, Tory, what the fuck are y'all doing? Millionaires playing around at a party drunk on y'all asses and not knowing how to carry yourselves. So we're here. Now, what's interesting is Milagro. She comes out. I've never seen or felt anything as intense as the courtroom after the reading of the verdict or the aftermath. She also goes on to say, I've never seen same thing. And so I'm like, you're shocked. She's shocked because she rode the wave. She gave her commentary, but she also rode the wave of supporting Tory Lanez during this trial, just based off of what she saw initially, that LAPD report. And for the most part, she substantiated what she saw. But see, again, she also leaned on relationship. You know, a lot of her commentary was on they were fucking. Yeah, they were fucking. We can all agree that they all three were fucking each other. But what we can't all agree is that they didn't not shoot her. Someone shot her. And I think that a lot of people failed to see that in this story. So check out the father. This was his rebuttal afterwards, and just check it out.
Of Rock Nation, including you, Jay-Z.
Yes.
You who say you rose from the gutter, but you have traded and bartered the souls of young men, and you're still doing it. The only independent witness in this courtroom is a man whose name is Sean Kelly. He came to court, and our attorneys, he would not even shake their hand after he went upstairs with Kathy Ta and Alex Bott.
They met on Saturday before. They met on Saturday.
Met with our witness. Night. And then the man came back, and I sat in the hallway while he sat with Jody Little, the prosecutor's investigator, who acted so dumb, an intelligent woman who did not want... Listen, I've seen so much evidence buried in this.
You see, this man, and he wasn't
in
there.
The LAPD's office. Tell me how there's no fingerprints. My God Almighty, I call heaven and earth to be a record today. That's that right. Rock Nation, you will crumble. I am an apostle of God. That's right. And you will know who I am.
That's right. Say that, man. Come on, man. I feel that, bro. Real talk.
Baby, father is upset. And again, pinning this on Rock Nation and bringing it back there, it does nothing. You can get it all out. Jay-Z is not anywhere involved in this case. His name is not on any documents. Again, we always act out of anger. Fuck you, Jay-Z. That does nothing. The right thing to do will be like, okay, let's move on to appeal. And if your attorneys were smart, they would have been preparing an appeal for you during this process if this was going on. At the same time, like, okay, let's go. What procedures aren't being done right. So we're here, you all. You know, it's been a long ass, dumb ass. This has been one of the most interesting things. Megan lied, Kelsey lied, Tory didn't testify, witnesses didn't show up, bloggers leaning to one side, NBC News coming after bloggers, all of that for the simple question, did Tory Lanez shoot Megan or not? And somebody had to shoot her. Someone had to shoot her. And if it wasn't him, then they would have found him not guilty. And that's all I have to say. Shout out to y'all. Sir, why you reaching for Jay-Z when y'all Canadian? Hit Drake up, pimp. Sir, this is the Krusty Krab. He is as toxic and deranged as his son. They all got that little ball thing going on the Philly. Child, if God was standing with Tory, he wouldn't be in the jailhouse. Hey, trouble woman, trouble woman. Um, and I just found this interesting. I found it really, really interesting that so many people were disturbed by the verdict reached because they weren't expecting it. A lot of people were expecting a not guilty or a mistrial. And I don't, for me, what it was the phone call and the actual witness testimony. And a lot of people are saying the eyewitness was talking to the prosecutors and he didn't shake hands with, like the father was saying. What does that have to do with anything? Because if that was the case, you all should have brought it up then and brought that to the judge as of an irregularity. But nobody brought it up until afterwards. And again, remember I told you all earlier today that the defense attorney, after questioning Sean Kelly, goes on to say, if you smirk one more time, you'll see what happens. Are you threatening him now? The biggest question is, will May continue on with her lawsuit of these bloggers? Like, now do you feel justified enough that you won't proceed with the lawsuit, or are you still feeling like you need to proceed? Because I'm interested in that. I don't think it's a good choice. I think at this point you need to let it go, and you need to understand that's part of the game. And look, you won your case. Sometimes you don't have to do all of that. Just stay the course. It will be another 2 to 3 years of this. He will get a bond and get out. Watch. And be in Canada. The witness was for the defense. That's the wild part. And what got me was that all of these, from Megan to Kelsey to the witness, everyone's initial statement, affidavit, recorded statement was so different than when they got on the stand. It was like, wow, this wasn't just a Kelsey with her postpartum. Everyone had something different to say. She was drunk. She didn't remember. It was nighttime. His son, I think he said either his son was sick or something, and he was trying to be up with his son, so he really couldn't. And it's like, really? Okay. Megan was depressed. I did understand the Jay-Z thing. Trouble Woman, what type of connection did you see? Care to share? Not to mention the defense attorney thought he could just label Mr. Kelly as a hostile witness when he was trying to put words in his mouth. And all of that goes back to bite them. It really does, because you're not displaying that just for the judge. The jury sees that shit too, just like we see it. And they adding that shit up too, like, oh, okay. They're adding that shit up too. So, I'm not even going to lie. I'm not going to act like I wasn't shocked. I think I was more so shocked that he was found guilty on all charges. I would assume he wouldn't been found guilty on some of those charges. Like I would assume they'd have said it was an assault, but he wasn't negligible. I was looking for a guilty verdict somewhere, but on all, I say what, bitch? On all, I didn't oh, you didn't understand? Yeah, why he was mad at Jay-Z? Me either. The Rock Nation, she's with Rock Nation. And she support his financing and supporting of her through attorney and legal work and managing her career, and I guess maybe some of his moves helped her or didn't help her with this case. I don't get it, because if you're going to claim that shit, you need to claim that shit with 1501 and Kelsey. Kelsey's all in with them too. We didn't hear you say anything with that. She's married to somebody on their team and got a baby by him. Everybody saying that relationship was there before. Okay. But even she could have known 1501, but you got to remember, while she was hanging out with Megan, she was fucking all these other niggas. So whatever relationship she had with somebody at 1501, it must have not been strong enough during these periods of times where she fucking Tory and everybody else. Because it was after the Tory situation, she got married. So let's not put too much weight on the fact that there's a connection there. Like, I feel like the connection existed simply because of Megan, but we all have different ways of looking at that. Once the jury heard Kelsey fumble her testimony on the first day, I knew it was a wrap. She was too obvious. It's because Kelsey's baby daddy is an exec at 1501, Meg's old label. I think most were shocked that he was found guilty. It's comical because those same people will be celebrating and saying how the justice system did right by Tory. Laughable. And I'd be down here like, this shit is crazy. The exec was the one who paid for Kelsey's attorney and bodyguard at the trial. She got with him after Tory. So, and it's like, So we not talking about that. Why we not talking about that? Because I'm sure the prosecutors would have been talking about that had Tory won. Not to mention, Kelsey still corroborated several points of Meg's testimony and hers from September. She obviously was playing games on that stand. They saw through her. And that's the thing they didn't get. That as much as they thought they were trying to prove a story to us, that fucking jury was looking at this shit too. And they saw all of this shit for what it was. Absolutely right. Um, I know I know Tory's I know Tory is probably feeling like he could not believe it. I'm sure he built up such an ego, such a bravado, like I'm going to escape this case. And that's what you saw throughout this whole thing. It felt like that. Like the defense attorneys went in there. They first came out talking about somehow Kelsey's gonna come in here and prove all of this and how you'll see with the eyewitness. And then to come to find the fuck out, both of them stumbling on their statements. I'm sure they were shaking in their boots too. And wasn't prepared for this though. Kelsey went back to 1501 after she and Meg fell out. She was trying to play the long game on taking Meg down. And none of that shit worked. Trouble woman, trouble woman. All right, y'all. That's my 30 minutes on this. This shit is finally over. Oh my god, I only got 4 likes. Can I get 10 likes? Yeah, I hit the like button now. What are we doing? I know it's a Friday. Where we at? Oh, it's 18. I had to refresh. Thank you, y'all. Thank you. Thank you. It's treacherous waters in many industries, but none worse than music, politics, and religion. Baby, politics have you shot up. He worked overdrive before this trial began. He leaked records to the public before through the blogs. They were sowing up confusion before and during the trial. He knew he had reasonable doubt. Okay, absolutely. Yes, Rodney. When are you free? When you want to do it? When you got some time? When you want to enter? When you want to chit chat, chat? You let me know. I'm good. I'm off until Tuesday, so I got time. You let me know. I fire it up, do an old nasty thumbnail. But at last, Reasonable Doubt Us is a classic album by Jay-Z. And we rejoice, y'all. We rejoice. Megan got her justice. Fuck that shit. I know some people mad. I know some people upset. But listen, you wasn't on the stand. You weren't charged. Get out your feelings. It's not you. It ain't no black man. Ain't nobody trying to vilify no black man. And I ain't trying to personally attack that man. But if somebody shot her, whether it was him, I want that person to be charged. And the person on the stand was Tory. And so if you follow the evidence based on the charges, not on the gossip and the hearsay, you'll be able to see what the jury sees as well and not what you see. Because again, you're not a juror. I'm not a juror. We're not on the stand at all. And we're not in a courtroom. And I think that's how we get confused. Because when I was even talking about it, I was always looking at it from the aspect of what was the evidence given in the court, so we can see it from their angle. And I think that was the best way to do it. It can be sometimes tomorrow. Okay. All right. I'm gonna run into you in somebody chat tomorrow. Later in the evening is good. I can tag you in a comment and start a conversation. So I'll hit you. King, do you think they will give him bond while the process continues? I think they will. Yes. I absolutely think he'll get bond. Or they may presume him to be a flight risk, but I don't think so. I think he'll get bond. Absolutely. Tory Lanez of this magnitude, I think he'll get bond. I could be wrong because they could deem this man a flight risk, or they could say just the fact that he had a gun and he's charged with negligence. That's leeway to keep him detained until sentencing. But I find that hard because there's been a lot of other folks who've been released on bond at the celebrity status. And I'm only saying that because, I feel like it's two different systems when it comes to that sentencing and bond shit when it's celebrities. Okay. Okay. It's a special place for black women who willfully support predators. I'm interested in seeing how Milagro going to move after this. This is the second predator she supported while bashing victims. He can get bond. They're sentencing him January. Yep. His sentence is on January, 27th or 26th? Let's see. Sentencing is set for January 27th. And so I think he's eligible for bond, but again, that's not that'll be that's to be determined. Um, but this is what's so interesting is that as he's facing these maximum sentences of 22 years and 8 months in prison, he may also be deported to his home country of Canada after serving his sentence. So I see him really trying to push an appeal because a lot of that will mess up a bag. That will mess up his bag. The way his dad acted could also work against him as well for bond. Oh, that is true. No, with that daddy stunt he pulled, he is a flight. That is true. If they worry that his dad will aid him in jumping bond, they'll keep him locked up. And you know what? It'll be the prosecuting attorneys who will bring that kind of stuff up. Keep the patchy leprechaun locked up. Not to mention, if Meg gets continued hate to the point she fears for her safety, they'll keep him for that too. Girl, look at all this shit stacked up against them. You see how you got to really strategically think about things as you're doing them? I definitely felt like the father was overly over the top. I know it's your son. I know it's the breadwinner of the family, but you got to dial back. Remember, your son is being charged, not you. One. Two, you have to dial back. These are legal proceedings. You're still in a legal situation. There's still an appeal process. You don't know what that entails. You got to kind of sort of tiptoe around this. Yeah, he's locked up. Mm-hmm. As he should. Canada has strict border laws for criminal offenses, so I hope U.S. keep that same energy. Baby, Reese ain't playing. Reese say, bitch, send that nigga to jail and send him to Canada. You is not with the shits. Imagine how brazen he would have been if found not guilty. Girl, it would have been a whole song out here. A whole record that he already, probably a whole album he dropped. A whole album. Damn, Tory in jail for Christmas. They got a present in there for your little ass. 5-2. Shut up, Joe. Not the 5-2 Christmas gift. Oh my God, y'all are too much. Y'all too much. Y'all. So that is it. This man is found guilty, y'all. This is over with. This has been going on since for a long time, since January of this year. Oh my God. So we're here. I'm so glad that I'm so glad that this shit is over with. Not only for Megan, but for everybody. And they still have that August case waiting on him too. Baby. The daddy said he going to bring Jay-Z down. Join the list, man. You wouldn't be the only one. Dame said the same thing. Dame tried to sue him. You got Bacardi trying to bring him down too. So we'll see, y'all. I thank y'all for coming through so we can talk about this. I wanted to get this over and done with, baby. This shit is out the works. Tory is going to jail. Meg, what I need you to do, because this is how you're going to prove your authenticity and your credibility. Now, in that courtroom, you said that you were depressed and and all out. I can't see you out here doing a boat and twerking. You need to go back into this state of emotional healing. You even if you're not truly there, you need to do that because it's too soon for you to be coming out here doing, the heel toe with a bottle of wine in your hand. Relax, ease into this because it could have been found not guilty. So you need to be a little bit humble. I think Partisan did a great job with releasing his message. Chill out, go to your music, put all this shit in your music, call it After the Trial album, and put it all in your music and work on something else because you got just as much as you think you won, you got a lot of folks out here who was aiming at you and don't like you. There's some repairing of relationships you got to do. Not because you have to do it, but because it's the nature of the business. You got to cater to public opinion and fans. You want to sell records and you want people to, listen to your music. And so you still got a reverse sort of, come out here as a strong woman, but you can't come out here. Oh my God, bitch, I told y'all what? No, that's not the right way to do it. Put out a nice statement. Thank God for the legal system, and my family, my friends who've been around to support me. But don't toot your horn too heavy, too hard, because you never know what's in the wing waiting to come at you again. I'm only telling you this because your next movements, your next actions are going to speak volumes. It's going to be what people talk about. It's going to be the next thing people report. The first statement Meg said afterwards. So be very cautious about that. Be very cautious. Hey, Miss Toby. Hey, Miss Toby. Good morning. Hey, I'm saying good morning like I said good morning. Hey, Miss Toby. The bee hive going to light his daddy's ass up. The blame Jay-Z is a beef sector play. Okay, divert. Dang, I'm late. All that damn makeup on. You really don't like you some Meg. I think Meg will lay low for a while. It's over and sis need to recharge. She really does. A lot. She really do. I love Megan. Well, at least this chapter is over, child. Yes, it is over. All right, crew. I hope y'all hit that like button. I'm about to get up out of here. Shout out to y'all for coming through. Glad this fucking case is over with. We can get over and done with this. I might be live later just to kick it with y'all, just to have a little jammy jam. Y'all see this little hat? I just went and bought it. This little Christmas hat. My friend got the last red one, and I was like, bitch. So I'm in the line trying to take his. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do the money green. I do the money green. So I grabbed the money green one. But I might come late later to just kick it with y'all. I have a few drinks. You know, it's a great time of the year. You too, Miss Toby. Have a great holiday. You too. He was mentioning the picture in the background. Commentary is primarily overweight. Oh yeah. All right, y'all. All right, I'm out. Thank y'all for coming through. And until next time, crew. And until next time, which will be like later tonight. Deuces.